There are days when you miss having someone to call without thinking twice. That ache is quiet but very real. You may smile when someone asks how you are, but inside you feel how empty the day can become. It is not always deep sadness. Sometimes it is just a long silence that seems to follow you. You wake up and the house says nothing back. Even the morning feels slower than it used to. You make your coffee. You sit in the same chair. You look at the phone and it stays still. No message comes in. No one drops by. The room feels full of time but empty of company. You may tell yourself it should not matter so much, but your heart still notices what is missing. You remember when friendship happened without planning. It came through work, church, neighbors, school events, and family dinners. Back then, life brought people into your day. You did not always have to go looking for connection. Now it feels different. If you want a new friend, it can feel like climbing a steep hill. And maybe that surprises you. Maybe you wonder why something so simple now feels so hard. You are not asking for a large social life. You may only want one good conversation. You may only want someone who remembers your name, someone who asks how your week has been, someone who does not rush you, someone who listens long enough for you to feel heard. Maybe the hardest part is this. You still care deeply, but you do not always know where to place that care. You may miss the easy rhythm of old friendship, the kind that needed no explanation, the kind where you could show up tired, worried, quiet, or happy and still be welcomed. Now even small steps can feel heavy. Starting a conversation can feel bigger than it sounds. You might think, what would I even say? You might wonder if anyone really wants new friendship now. You may worry about seeming awkward, or needy, or out of place in a room full of strangers. That worry can stop you before you even begin. It can send you back home too soon. And once you are home, the silence can feel even louder. Because you know you tried. Or maybe you did not try. Maybe you thought about it all week, then stayed in. That happens more than you admit. Not because you are lazy, but because it feels emotionally tiring. Sometimes the hardest part is not meeting someone new. It is facing how much you miss being known. Being known is different from being around people. You can sit near others and still feel alone. You can have family who loves you and still feel unseen in your ordinary days. Both can be true. Maybe you have felt this at family gatherings. Voices all around you, yet nobody really stays with you long. People are kind, they mean well, but the deeper talk never quite happens. You go home with leftovers, a polite smile, and that strange empty feeling you cannot fully explain. If this sounds familiar, stay with this for a moment. You are not imagining it, and you are not failing. What you feel has a reason. Your life has changed, and friendship changes with life. After 70, many of the places where friendship once grew have faded. Work is gone. Busy routines are gone. Some friends have moved away. Some are dealing with illness. Some are caring for a spouse. Some are simply not who they once were, and some are no longer here at all. That kind of loss changes more than your calendar. It changes your sense of belonging. You may have lost a husband or wife, and with that loss, whole parts of your social world disappeared too. Couples you once saw together may not call as much now. Invitations may grow fewer over time. That can hurt in ways people do not always see. It is not just loneliness, it is disconnection. Even if your children care about you deeply, they may be busy. Their lives move fast. They work, they drive, they text, they hurry from one thing to another. You may not want to interrupt them, so you say, I am fine, even when the day feels long. You may sit with your feelings instead of sharing them, not because they are small, but because you are careful. You do not want to be a burden. That thought alone has silenced many honest hearts. Health can play a part too. If your body hurts, going out takes more effort than before. If your hearing has changed, conversation can feel tiring. If you cannot drive at night, choices shrink. Little limits become big walls over time, not all at once, but slowly, almost quietly. And then there is something else. After enough life, Your heart becomes more careful. You have seen disappointment. You've lost people. You know friendship can change without warning. So part of you protects yourself. It says, do not expect too much. Do not risk too much. That voice may sound wise, but it can also keep you alone. Protection and isolation can look alike. You may want closeness, but not know how to trust it yet. That is a very human place to be. Sometimes you wait for others to reach out first. You tell yourself, if they wanted to, they would. But many people are waiting in the same silence. Many people are hoping someone else will begin. So the days pass, not with drama, just with quiet habits and small disappointments. You fold laundry. You wash dishes. You look out the window longer than you mean to. You hear a car door outside and wonder for 1 second if someone has come to see you. Then the moment passes. The car belongs to someone else. The street returns to normal. You may not say this out loud, but sometimes you miss being expected somewhere. You miss having a place where your presence matters, where someone notices if you do not come. Maybe the evenings are the hardest. Afternoon slips away and night begins too early. The lamp is on. The television talks, but the room still feels empty in a human way. Or maybe Sundays feel hardest. A day that once had shape now feels too open. Those open spaces can stir old memories, old voices, old laughter, old comfort. And then a painful thought may come. Has my chance for close friendship already passed? If that thought has crossed your mind, I want you to breathe and stay here for a moment. That thought is understandable, but it is not the whole truth of your life. Yes, making new friends after 70 can feel hard. Harder than it used to. Harder than it should. But hard does not mean impossible. It does not mean your story is closing. It does not mean you are too old to matter. It does not mean warmth is behind you. It means the path has changed. That is different from saying the path is gone. Sometimes hope begins very quietly, not with a big change, but with a smaller way of seeing yourself. You do not need to become outgoing overnight. You do not need to charm a room. You do not need 10 new friends. You may only need one safe connection to begin again. And often the first step is not social at all. The first step is honesty. You may need to say to yourself, this is loneliness. This is what I have been carrying. There is strength in naming it, not weakness, not defeat, just truth. When you name it, you stop fighting your own feelings. You stop pretending the ache is not there. That can soften something inside you. It can make room for gentleness instead of shame. Another helpful step is noticing when loneliness hits the hardest. Certain times have their own weight. Maybe mornings feel empty. Maybe dinner time hurts. Maybe weekends stretch too wide. When you know your harder hours, you can care for them better. You can stop being caught off guard. A hard hour needs a plan, even a small one. Simple things matter more than they seem. You might call one person on Tuesday mornings. You might visit the same cafe on Thursdays. You might sit on the porch at sunset instead of in the darkest room. Small choices can steady you. Routine cannot replace friendship, but it can protect your spirit while friendship slowly grows. Another gentle step is lowering the size of the task. Do not think, I must make a best friend. Think smaller. I can have one short conversation. I can learn one person's name. I can return to the same place twice. I can let familiarity do its quiet work. Friendship often begins with repeated small moments. A smile, a shared table, a simple question. How long have you been coming here? That is enough to begin sometimes. You do not need a perfect opening line. You only need a little courage and a little patience. And if speaking first feels hard, that is all right too. You can begin with presence. Going to the same place regularly matters. People trust what becomes familiar. A library event, a walking group, a church class, a senior center, a coffee shop near home. Choose what feels gentle, not exhausting. Choose what fits your energy and your real life. You are not trying to impress anyone. You are trying to find where you feel at ease. That matters more than forcing yourself into places that leave you drained. Peace is a good guide. It also helps to remember this. Reaching out is not bothering someone just because you need connection. A simple call is not too much. A short message is not selfish. Your voice still belongs in the world. Your presence is not an interruption. If there is one person you miss talking to, consider taking one small chance. Not a big speech. Just a note that says, "I was thinking of you today. I hope you are well." Sometimes that small opening leads nowhere, but sometimes it opens a door you thought was closed. And if someone does not answer, try not to turn that into a judgment about your worth. Silence can mean many things: busy lives, tired minds, missed messages, their own struggles. Silence does not always mean rejection, and rejection does not erase your value anyway. Another quiet truth may help you. New friendship after 70 often grows more slowly, and that is okay. At this stage of life, people carry history, grief, habits, health issues, worries. That means trust takes time. So does comfort. So does deciding to let someone in. Slow is not failure. Slow can be real. Slow can last. You may also need to grieve the old kind of friendship. That matters too. Some friendships belong to a version of life that no longer exists. Busy homes, busy jobs, full calendars. Missing that life is natural. Missing those people is natural. You are not wrong for feeling that loss. But grief and hope can live together. You can miss what was and still welcome what may come. The new connection may not look like the old one. It may be quieter. It may be one person at a time, one walk, one cup of coffee, one familiar face. It may not replace the past, but it can still bring real comfort. And you deserve real comfort. Not only memories, not only endurance, real comfort here and now. Please hear this part clearly. You are not invisible because fewer people call. You are not a burden because you wish someone would check in. You are not needy because you miss company. You are not too old to be understood. You are not too late for warmth. You are a human being with a heart that still wants connection. That is nothing to be ashamed of. If you want, ask yourself something simple. When do you feel this most deeply? Is it after dinner? On quiet weekends? After a family visit ends? When the phone does not ring? That answer matters. It tells you where your heart needs the most kindness. And then ask one more thing. What would feel a little less lonely? Not perfect, just a little less. A 10-minute call, a ride to church, a class once a week, a neighborly hello, a regular place to go, a reason to get dressed, a face that starts to recognize yours. You do not have to solve the whole future today. You only need one honest next step. One step can become a pattern. A pattern can become a comfort. A comfort can become a bond. This is how life often changes now, not through big leaps, but through small, faithful movements. So be gentle with yourself if friendship feels hard. There's nothing strange about that. You are carrying years of change, years of loss, years of learning how to keep going. Of course your heart is careful. Of course new beginnings take effort now. But careful does not mean closed. Tired does not mean finished. Quiet does not mean empty forever. There is still room in your life for surprise. Still room for laughter that feels easy. Still room for someone who understands your stories. Still room for a conversation that warms the whole day. And if today feels lonely, let today be only today, not your final answer. Take care of this one day, this one evening, this one tender part of your heart. Open the curtain, step outside, make the call, go back one more time. Not because it is easy, because you still matter enough to try gently. And if no one has told you lately, let this be said clearly now. Your life still has value. Your presence still brings something no one else can bring. The world is not better when you shrink yourself. It is better when you stay open to being known. Thank you for spending this time here. I hope these words made the room feel a little less empty. If they did, you can leave a small comment and say, "I understand this feeling." And if you would like more gentle messages like this, you can like the video and subscribe. Until next time, please remember this. You are not forgotten, and it is not too late for connection.